Hello and welcome. I am Exit Light and this is my channel. I've been reading up on old folklore, and one that stood out to me was a story about a demon dog, or perhaps the dog is the devil himself. And I decided that today I was going to introduce you to the Black Shuk, or the Old Shuk, or Old Shuk, or simply Shuk. So sit back, get ready. Please click that like button, and if you're not subscribed, please do so. It's completely free, and if you click that bell, you'll be notified when my content goes live, and all 31 days of October are going to have content that will chill you to your bones. So, let's get started talking about the Black Shuk, shall we? In English folklore, the Black Shuk, Old Shuk, Old Shuk, or simply Shuk by those who are nearest and dearest, is the name given to a ghostly black dog which is said to roam the coastline and countryside of East Anglia, in one of many such black dogs recorded in folklore across the British Isles. It is sometimes recorded as an omen of death, either your own or someone close to you. Other times it's described as a companionable animal, one who can lead you to safety if you're in danger. According to the Oxford English Dictionary, the name Shuk derives from the Old English word succa, which means devil or fiend, perhaps from the root ska, which means to terrify. The first mention in print of the Black Shuk, as it is called today, is by Reverend E.S. Taylor in an 1850 edition of the journal Notes and Queries, which describes the Shuk as a dog fiend. He wrote, "This phantom I have heard many persons in East Norfolk and even Cambridgeshire describe as having seen a black shaggy dog with fiery eyes and immense size, who visits churchyards at midnight." Abraham Fleming's account of the appearance of a strange and terrible wonder in 1577 is a famous account of the beast. Images of sinister black dogs have become part of the iconography in the area and have appeared in pop culture. In 1877, Walter Rye stated that the Shuk was, quote, "the most curious of our local apparitions, as there are no doubt varieties of the same animal." The descriptions of the Black Shuk do vary in both size and shape, some being a large dog, others the size of a calf or even a horse. W.A. Dutt in 1901 described the creature this way. "He takes the form of a huge black dog and prowls along the dark lanes and lonesome field footpaths where, although his howling makes the hearer's blood run cold, his footfalls make no sound. You may know him at once, should you see him, by his fiery eye. He has but one, and that, like Cyclops, is in the middle of his head. But such an encounter might bring you the worst of luck. It is even said that to meet him is to be warned that your death will occur before the end of the year. So you will do well to shut your eyes if you hear him howling. Shut them, even if you are uncertain whether it is the dog fiend or the voice of the wind you hear. Should you never set eyes on the Norfolk snarl yow, you may perhaps doubt his existence, and like other learned folks tell us that this story is nothing but the old Scandinavian myth of the Black Hound of Odin, brought to us by the Vikings who long ago settled down on the Norfolk coast. Around 1127, put your head around that for a minute, 1127, there is a story written about the Peterborough Abbey, and this is what it says. Let no one be surprised at the truth of what we are about to relate, for it is common knowledge throughout the whole country that immediately after Abbot Henry of Putois' arrival in Peterborough Abbey. It was a Sunday when they sang Exsurge Choir. Many men both saw and heard a great number of huntsmen hunting. The huntsmen were black, huge, and hideous, and rode on black horses and on black he-goats, and the hounds were jet black with eyes like saucers and horrible. This was seen in the very deer park of the town of Peterborough, and in all the woods that stretched from that same town to Stamford, and in the night the monks heard them sounding and winding their horns. Reliable witnesses who kept watch in the night declared that there might have well been as many as 20 or 30 of them winding their horns as near they could tell. This was seen and heard from the time of his arrival all through Lent and right up to Easter. One of the most notable reports of the Black Shuk is of his appearance in a church in Blyborough in Suffolk on August 4th, 1577. The Black Shuk is said to have burst in through the doors of the Holy Trinity Church to the clap of thunder. He ran up the nave past a large congregation, killing a man and a boy, and causing the church steeple to collapse through the roof. And as the dog left, he left scorch marks on the north door, which can be seen at the church to this very day. A very similar account is given to a different church in St. Mary's, and is written by Abraham Fleming, A Strange and Terrible Wonder. In 1577, this is how he describes it. This black dog, or the devil in such a likeness, God he knoweth all, who worketh all, running along down the body of the church with great swiftness and incredible haste among the people, in a visible form and shape, passed between two persons as they were kneeling upon their knees and occupied in prayer, as it seemed, wrung the necks of them both at one instant clean backward, insomuch that even at a moment where they kneeled, they strangely died. The Black Shuk is even mentioned in popular culture. The British rock band The Darkness have a song called Black Shuk on their 2003 debut album, Permission to Land. In Teen Wolf, an ancient hellbound spirit that had possessed someone tells one of the main characters that it is known by many names, one of which is Black Shuk. British rock band Down I Go have a song called Black Shuk on their 2019 EP. All down the church in midst of fire the hellish monster flew, and passing onward to the choir he many people slew. In June of 2019, after being previously crowdfunded on Kickstarter, the graphic novel The Burning Black, Legend of Black Shuk was published by Renegade Arts Entertainment. The book was written by Mark Allard Will, with artwork by Ryan Howe and lettering by Elaine M. Will. The graphic novel features Black Shuk as its central antagonist. Also, the Black Shuk appears in the 2020 video game Assassin's Creed Valhalla as a mini-boss encountered while exploring the countryside of East Anglia. The player can find it eating a carcass amidst a ruined building, and when killed, it gives the player skill points and its decapitated head. And lastly, the Black Shuk appears in Rahul Kapsaski's 2020 stop-motion animated folk horror film, Curse of the Black Shuk, which was released by Troma. So, is there such thing that dates back to 1121 that was brought by the Vikings, was Odin's dog? Is there such a thing? A lot of people seem to think so. How terrifying. Good night, and thank you for coming.